Hello vinyl community and everyone else watching this. I'm back. I thought I would make another video. I hope everybody is well. I was watching a video a couple days ago by my friend Matthew Street, and it was in response to a thread that was started by a newer person in the vinyl community called MGK Boston. And it was one of his earliest videos. He hasn't been around very long. But it was Gimme 12 Plus 1 and his greatest hits. And he's right that nobody really, not that many people anyway, talk about collections of artists in the VC. And you could show vinyl, you could show CDs, and he wanted 12 plus one more. Nice even number 13. And I'm like, well, that's an easy thread to do. And he was kind of showing ones that you don't see very often, but he showed a few that you do. I'm going to show, hopefully, all of them that you don't see very often. Now, I have literally hundreds of greatest hits sort of compilations in my collection to choose from, so I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this, I'll be honest. I just grabbed some of the more obscure ones, at least I thought were more obscure ones, that I just thought of immediately off the top of my head. And for those of you that know me, none of these will be a surprise. So here we go, 13 greatest hits compilation type albums. And we're going to start off with Hemet, Rhodes and the MerryGoRound. This came out on Rhino Records, and if you don't know who Hemet Rhodes is, you know, he got labeled in his early days as sort of a McCartney imitator, but he's way more than that. He was a gifted songwriter, great voice, and his band, the MerryGoRound, was fantastic. And this came out, I don't know, sometime in the mid-'80s. You can get more comprehensive comps on CD, but this still may be the only one on vinyl. I'm not sure. Anyway, it came out on Rhino. It's got Live and You're a Very Lovely Woman, the two biggest MerryGoRound hits on here. My favorite MerryGoRound song, Pardon Me, is on here. It's a really good compilation. So MerryGoRound, the best of the MerryGoRound on Rhino. Number 2. Had this on CD for years. A couple years ago, it finally came out on Rhino again for a Rocktober release. It's a 2-record set, the Flamin' Groovys, and it is called Groovys Greatest Grooves. Again, 2-record set, came out as part of Rocktober a couple years ago on Rhino. It's got, I don't know, 24 songs on it, something like that. And if you don't know who the Flamin' Groovys are, they started in San Francisco in the late 60s. You know, not very far after, you know, the Dad of the Airplane did. And it just took them a long time to make it. Greg Shaw from Bomb Records had a lot to do with them finally getting signed to Sire. And they're still around, believe it or not. And this goes to about 79 maybe, something like that, this comp. So from the early days to about 79. I didn't mention the MerryGoRound is about 66 to 69, something like that. This goes about 68 maybe to 79. And great band, power popish, but also rock and roll and even a little boogie in their early days and some rhythm and blues. Great band. If you don't know them, check them out. Third up, this is probably the most popular, the most recognizable comp I'm going to show, but I'm showing it because it's the Mobile Fidelity version. Mobile Fidelity doesn't do very many greatest hits, but they did do the best of the Raspberries. I think there's 12 songs on this. Of course, Eric Carmen, the leader of the Raspberries, along with Wally Bryce. And I'm not going to dig it out, but these were all numbered. I've got number 1100 something. And they're on limited edition, sort of transparent red, dark red maroon vinyl. And it's quiet, it's great sounding, and Mobile Fidelity doesn't do that much colored vinyl either. So this is just a really cool, you ever come across this, buy it. Plus the Raspberries Greatest Hits, you know, one of the first power pop bands to actually be a power pop band. But again, like all power pop bands, there's so much more than that. And yeah, there's, I just looked, there's 10 songs on this. There's a track list if you can see that. And it's an interesting album because side 1 is mostly mixed, like it was you know, a DJ doing it, and side 2 is not. So interesting comp and a great comp to own. That's 3. Comp number 4. Dave D. Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch. Gotta love these guys. Didn't make it in America. A UK beat band. Tamer than, say, the Small Faces or the Who, but still along those lines. And had a bunch of hits in England. Had no hits in America. Unfortunately. And this, I don't know, this is probably a late 70s, 80s comp out of the UK on Philips Records. And if you ever see any Dave D. Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch, grab it. And Hold Tight is on this. If you've ever seen Quentin Tarantino's film Death Proof, at the very end, not the very end, the part where all the girls die, they're playing Hold Tight by Dave D. Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch. And they make a point of letting you know what that song is. So, great album. Number 5. Probably the most popular band in the world, the biggest selling band in the world. But they did have an album just called 20 Greatest Hits, the Beatles. I'm showing this just because you don't see it very often in the vinyl community. This came out in the late 80s, 20 tracks on it. Hey Jude was edited. Sound quality not the best. But, you know, 1 basically is the offspring of 20 Greatest Hits. And, it's a unique comp. Again, I don't think it's ever been in print except the initial time that it came out. It's never been on CD. So it's a Beatles sort of rarity in a way. And it didn't sell so much that there are just millions of these floating around. It did okay. But, you know, by the standards that you think of it, the Beatles, there you go. The Beatles, 20 Greatest Hits on Capitol. I wanted to pick a Who out, and I just picked this out, The Story of the Who, another UK import. This goes up through about 78, I think, so from 65 to 78, something like that. It's got a lot of stuff from Tommy on it, and a lot of early stuff, and then a few tracks from the later period as well. It's a 2-record set. You know, what can you say about the Who? The UK import. On Polydor Records, and yeah, there's a Who comp you don't see every day. And speaking of records you don't see every day, I'm told this is pretty rare. I don't know, I picked this up when I was actually in the UK. This is the Kinks, and it's just called the Kinks. It's a 2-record greatest hits on Pi. Not much to see here, and I'm not going to open it up because it's in a wrapper that honestly is too tight for it. But I've been told that this is a fairly rare album, and again, I picked it up for a few pounds when I was in England in the mid to late 90s. And it's a great comprehensive Kinks comp. It's got the typical songs on it, the early stuff. I'm not sure how far this goes, maybe through Lola, that period, maybe through 1970, but I'm not sure. It might end earlier than that. But again, just another comp that you don't see very often. The Kinks, and I don't even know if you can see, it does say something on the cover there, but the rest of it is just black. Next one, I've lost count, but I've got 13 here. Here's another one you don't see every day. You got the Kinks and the Who and the Beatles. How about the Stones? The Story of the Stones. This is out of the UK. This was a mail order from Television LP, put out by, I want to see what the label, there it is, can you see that? K-Tal. The Rolling Stones were on K-Tal in the UK, and it's similar but different to like Hot Rocks. It's comparable to Hot Rocks, but it's not Hot Rocks. There are things on Hot Rocks not on here, and there are things on here not on Hot Rocks. It's an interesting set. Actually, it sounds pretty good. Another 2-record greatest hits compilation out of the UK, and another one that you just don't see every day. There's, did I show this Can you? I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's your track listing. I know I should have taken these out of the sleeves, but I didn't. It's another one I bought a few years ago. I remember buying this one in a record store in Rochester. Stiff Little Fingers, All the Best. Had this on CD, was psyched to find it on vinyl. Their greatest hits. These guys were like a punk band out of Northern Ireland, and fantastic. Huge influence on Green Day. Very huge influence on Green Day. And double album. It was cheap in England when it came out. I didn't spend too much for it, I don't think. 20 or under, I think, when I bought it. Again, fantastic. Out of the UK, of course. And wow, you're supposed. Okay, that's. I was looking at that, but that's just on an album, pound 10. But anyway, Suspect Device and Alternate Ulster, excuse me. Straw Dogs, those. Nobody's Hero, Tin Soldiers. Those are the songs. If you know anything by this band, those are probably what you know. Stiff Little Fingers, All the Best. Now, MGK showed a Clash album, but I'm going to that he doesn't see. I'm going to show another one you don't see. This is called The Clash Hits Back. This is a 3-record Clash compilation. It's heavy. It's 3 records. It's on pink vinyl. This is a fairly, you know, the last 10 years this came out. I don't know much more about it than that, but it's got a lot of tracks on it. If this was all you had by The Clash, I don't think you would be too disappointed with life. It's a really good compilation, really heavy, sounds great. Again, on pink vinyl. It's just a cool set, and again, it's one I don't see very often in VC videos. A band I don't see at all in VC videos, and I've never seen anybody show this. The Undertones and Cherobolis, which is sort of backwards Yiddish kind of for a bowl of cherries. I think they're alluding to the first McCartney album there, but I'm not sure. But there you go, it's the greatest hits. The Undertones were another, these guys were sort of a pop punk band out of Ireland, but Southern Ireland, not Northern Ireland. And this is my favorite Irish band, by the way. These guys were fantastic. Feargal Sharkey, who later had a little bit of a solo career, that's him right there, was in this band. And really cool, and people don't really talk about them. They have 4 albums, so there they are. And they did have a greatest hits. Only in the UK once again, and this is a UK copy. And of course, Teenage Kinks and Get Over You are their 2 biggest hits. Great band. Like I said, one of my favorites. A guy that doesn't get talked about you could talk about him every day as far as I'm concerned. A lot of these are UK, by the way. Nick Lowe, 16 all-time lows. He's never had a greatest hits LP in America. He's had CDs, but he's had a couple in the UK, and this is probably the best one. 16 all-time lows, but it is his greatest hits, even though, you know, he's making fun of his lack of hits here. And there are 16 tracks on this. Again, UK on Demon. There's a track listing there. And just a cool album to have. And huge Nick Lowe fan. Of course, he was in Brinsley Schwartz. He was in Rockpile with Dave Edmunds. So Dave Edmunds is on a bunch of these tracks. He's had a solo career. He's still touring. He's been touring with Lost Straitjackets for the last few years. And even recording with Lost Straitjackets. So, cool guy, one of my favorites. Nick Lowe, 16 all-time lows. And the last one, lucky number 13, my favorite band ever. This is an LP out of Germany. I have it on CD as well. This is Big Star. Big Star is biggest. This is their greatest hits. Again, it's on, is it Line? I think it's on Line. Yeah, Line Records out of Germany. It's silver, so you can't really see much. Great sounding. These Line Records sound really great. And if you don't know Big Star, power pop, but rock and roll. Just mix the Beatles and the Byrds and some Who in there, and you've got Big Star, and just a fantastic band. The late Alex Chilton of the Box Tops was in this band. Jody Stevens, Jody Stevens is still around playing. Big Star played my area not that long ago, but it's just Jody Stevens and whoever they got. These days it's John Hour from the Posies, Mike Mills from R.E.M., Chris Stamey of the DBs. These guys are doing Big Star these days. And they're still touring, they're still out there, but Alex is gone, and Andy Hummel is gone, and the first one to go, why can I not think of his name? Chris Bell. They're all gone, so there's only the original drummer left, but they're carrying on as a tribute to Big Star is what they're calling themselves. And if you get a chance to see them, do it. They're fantastic. But anyway, this is their greatest hits, Big Star's biggest. And that's it. That's 13 albums, at least I hope it is. 12 plus 1 greatest hits comps. If you want to make one of these, or, you know, go ahead, please. I'm sure MGK Boston would love it. Subscribe to his channel if you haven't. If you haven't heard from him, check him out. See what you think. If you like him, subscribe. And welcome to the VC, MGK Boston. And that's about it. Again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you later. Bye.